Hi, I'm Rob, and I'm here with Jonathan and Chris, and we're talking Path of Exile, and specifically Sacrifice of the Vaal. So for people who aren't familiar with Path of Exile, what is this game?
So Path of Exile is an online action RPG. We've got a focus on deep character customization, and we're targeting a sort of hardcore PC audience, so we like to keep the game challenging.
So when you say hardcore, some of the stuff is really complicated and deep, kind of like the skill system that you have.
Yeah, we've tried to make the game as accessible as possible for new players, but there's a ton of depth under the surface. So the skill system, for example, the individual skills aren't that difficult to master, but there are so many different ways you can combine them with support gems, combine them with other skills potentially, and there's an awful lot of combinations of different skills you can have, especially when you consider our passive skill tree that has, I think, 1,400 nodes now as of this mini expansion.
And then the active skills are a completely different system, aren't they?
Yeah, so the active skills are things you can link together. The passive skills are things you can't. Those sort of, those are the different areas of character customization. We found that players really love, being able to use a system that has so much depth, and they come up with interesting builds all the time. They like to stream them and so on. That's really cool.
Now, there's so many different combinations of skills. Do the players ever surprise you with the builds that they come up with?
Yeah, there are some crazy builds. We see people they'll pick a skill not for what it's meant for, but for some side effect, and then they'll just use that as a way of combining it with other skills. I mean, there was a build that we saw recently where a player would use this shield charge skill to dart into a group of monsters, using it entirely so that he can set the whole lot on fire at once, which has nothing to do with the fact he hit them with a shield, but entirely to do with the damage bonus it gives while charging.
What is Sacrifice of Vaal?
So Sacrifice of the Vaal is a mini expansion. We're adding a bunch of content. We're adding it all through the game. Overall, it rounds out a lot of areas that we thought we were slightly lacking in, and generates a whole bunch of new content for players to play as well.
And one of the things that you're putting in are some new leagues. Now, before we talk about the new leagues, what exactly are the leagues in the game?
So leagues are basically game modes that you can play in, and each one has a self-contained economy. So when you start a new league, it's a place that players can play where they've got a fresh new ladder, they've got fresh new items to find, and everyone's on a level playing field. So every 4 months we try to start a pair of new leagues, one for normal players and one for hardcore players, and it's a place which causes a lot of people to return to the game and to play the leagues feverishly for a few months, and then they're looking forward to the next set. For the players who don't like to play one long-term character for year after year, basically.
Just like every 4 months, we have 2 new leagues. One of them is softcore, one of them is hardcore, and one of them is called Ambush, the other is Invasion. They both have sort of new and interesting properties about them.
I'm going to be playing the more casual one. What's in that new league for me?
So the Ambush League has a variety of chests that you can find throughout the game that ambush you when you open them. And these are quite a lot more extravagant chests than normal. When you open them, a group of 10 monsters spawns around you in a circle. Now the cool thing about these chests is you can craft different mods onto them using the same crafting system that the game has built in for items. So you can kind of spend some of your currency items that you find to make the encounters more challenging rather than improving your gear. And of course the reason you're doing this is because the better the chests are, the better the drops, and you might get something lucky from them.
It comes out when?
March 5th.
And how much is it going to cost me?
It's completely free, like the core game. There's absolutely no sale of content going on here. The only thing that we charge for are cosmetic, aesthetic microtransactions. They just change how your skills look, how your character looks. You get to dress up a little bit. And that's proven incredibly successful with our audience. They love supporting us and really like making their characters look distinct.
I was talking to one of the guys here at the office, and he described it as free to play, but not in an evil way.
Yeah, we try to call our system ethical microtransactions because we really don't like the kind of selling of power, selling of X potions and that kind of thing. We're not a fan of that.
It's just not really compatible with a competitive game like this. If your players are racing up the leaderboard and having fun showing off the items they found, it would kind of defeat the purpose if they could buy those.
Can't wait to see the new expansion. We're going to be playing it here at the office. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much.